If you are someone who genuinely wants to learn Blender but you don't know where to start, this video is exactly for you. Now this tutorial will start with the real basics: viewport navigation, object manipulation, and using modifiers. All the stuff that you need to start confidently. But it's not an everything explained video. I truly believe that learning something step by step create a very lasting memory. But dumping all the information at once, that will just get you overwhelmed. So yeah, this video is a bit long and intentionally slow because I want you to absorb it properly. But hey, YouTube lets you to speed up the video. So go ahead, hit that gear icon if you need to. If you get stuck or have any question, just drop a comment below. I promise I'll reply. Or just hop into our Discord. We can chat directly. Alright, let's jump in, take it slow, and make something amazing in Blender. Just go to the journal tab. Then after that, you just try practicing the navigation a little bit. But before starting anything, we have to go to this edit, preferences, and in preferences you have to change two settings. One is in input you have to turn this on, emulate 3-button mouse, and second is turn this left mouse button. You have to turn it on and save the preference. You can see that it will show below. Then now we can start. So we don't need light and camera right now, so we can just select it and press X and you can just directly delete it. Let me just give you a little bit idea of the viewport navigation in Blender. So with the middle mouse button and anywhere in the empty area, you can just click and rotate the viewport. Press and hold shift on the keyboard, and with the middle mouse button, you have to hold both shift and middle mouse button and you can pan the viewport. Then control hold and middle mouse button, hold it and drag and up and down your mouse. Like if you drag your mouse up and down with holding the middle mouse button and control button, you can zoom in, zoom out, and you can just zoom in, zoom out with the scroll also. Yeah, this was the navigation. And if you want to move your object, there are two ways. One is these 3 buttons. For moving this, you can use this. You'll see the gizmo and you can just move, rotate and scale. This is here. Or else if you want to use the shortcuts, so for that you just have to press G for grab and you can move it anywhere. But if you want to constrain it in X axis, you have to just press, after G you just have to press X without clicking anything and just click and it will be there in the X axis. But let's say if you want to move G and Y, then it will be constrained to Y. Z, it will be constrained to Z, and you can click and leave it. Okay. Then for scaling, you can just press S and scale it from center. Like I'm not clicking anything, just S pressed, S click and drag your mouse. That's it. And if you want to scale in some particular directions like X, Y, Z, so for that you just press X or Y or Z and just click and it will be there. Then for rotate, same thing, just press R, drag your mouse, it will start rotating. But if you want a particular axis, X axis, press X and click, it will be there. Or else R and Y, it will rotate in Y, Z, it will rotate in Z, and click, it will be there. Like the object will be rotated. So this was basics, and for the beginners I would suggest you to use these 3. Okay, just get comfortable with these 3 and the viewport navigation, then easily you will be comfortable to move forward and do other stuff like, and later on you can adapt the shortcuts. I know this pace is a bit, so feel free to speed up or slow down with the YouTube playback settings. Then for adding a modifier, you just have to go to that wrench icon, and over there you have to just select a subdivision modifier. By that arrow you can apply that modifier on it, and make sure to remember this control tab button. With control tab you can go to different modes directly. So right now I'm doing control tab and I'm going to sculpt mode with this sphere. Then over there you can see the brushes, and you can increase the draw size or you can brush size with F button or just the bracket key on your keyboard. And on the top there is this X for turning on the symmetry. Now with that sphere, I'm just adjusting the shape with the normal grab brush. I'm just adjusting the shape, and by holding shift you can activate the smooth brush, so you can directly smooth the mesh. Then this is very important. In old version it is shift R to adjust that grid and control R to remesh the object, but in the new version it's R and control R. Like from R you can just adjust the grid and control R will apply the remesh. So remember that, because right now I'm working in the old version. Again control tab, and I'm going into the object mode. Right now I press shift A for adding a mesh, which is UV sphere, and with the same G and Z axis I'm moving it up, or you can see that I'm myself using the manual option which are there on the viewport on the sides. Then you can just use that scale button which is there on the side and scale it. You can see the gizmo, normal 3D viewport gizmo, and you can just move, rotate and scale from there. And this is all those things were happening in the object mode. And you can go to the sculpt mode from that top button also. So right now I'm in the sculpt mode, and with the grab brush I'm just shaping the ears of the cat. I'm continuously switching between object mode and sculpt mode whenever I need it. Right now you can see that I again pressed shift R to have that grid. Then after that control R, according to that grid the mesh will get remeshed. And if you are working in the new version, it will be R and control R. Then with the same like grab brush, and by holding shift I am smoothing and shaping the mesh accordingly. Then you can see I have selected the draw brush, and with the draw brush and holding control on the keyboard I can sculpt inward. I can sculpt inward in an inward direction. So remember that by holding control you can sculpt in inward direction. It will apply with any brush, like for draw sharp brush, clay brush or clay strips brush. With any brush, if you want to sculpt inward, it will be control by holding control, and if you want to sculpt outward, it will be like normal it will work. In new version, this brushes layout has changed a little bit, but most of the basic options are already there. They are not changed that much. So you can see that I have a reference, and according to that reference, I am trying to match the shape of the ear and the volume of the ear properly. I took this simple example to sculpt because it will not include all the messy shortcuts and all the messy steps which can come in a sculpt or model, but if we take a simple example, it will be making people comfortable how to like just get into software and try something small, because that is how I learned many things, just trying something small, not like a big sculpt. So right now you can see the origin of the object in the center of the object, but for shifting it to the center of the grid, you have to go to that object option, then set origin, then origin to 3D cursor, because our 3D cursor is in the center. And then after that again I went to the modifier option and applied a mirror modifier. Right now I'm not involving any step with the 3D cursor, that's why you don't have to get confused. Then you can see that I'm scaling it with shortcut. You can do it with the manual option, but for scaling you just have to press S, then after that the respective axis. And right now you can see that I'm using clay strip brush, and with control holding I'm just sculpting in inward direction so that I can fit a sphere for the eyes of this cat. For adding any object, I have to again go to this object mode, then only I can add the object, not like I'm in the sculpt mode and I can add the object. No, every step in its own mode. Then after that you have to go to this object mode again, then shift A, mesh, and UV sphere. Then place it in the place of eyes. If you're sculpting along, don't worry about getting it perfect. It's about understanding, not the perfection. And you can also see that there is a small option, small box beneath it. Whenever you do some action, there will be that box, and you can manually type the number if you want in that. Like for scaling and moving or doing something bevel and stuff, you will have that box over there, and you can just type the number in it. Other than that, you can just try to do all the stuffs manually for the beginning. But if you are like little bit comfortable, you are free to use the shortcuts. This tutorial was meant for the beginners, so I am just suggesting that you should use the manual options first, then later on get comfortable with the shortcut. So I just went to that wrench icon and I added a mirror modifier. So I will set the origin to the cursor so that I can see it. Right now it's getting mirrored from the center of the grid to the cursor, but I want the eyeball to mirror from the object's pivot. So for that I use that dropper option, and then after that I applied a modifier, subdivision modifier again. Then I went back to object mode for selecting the ears, then again went back to the sculpt mode for sculpting the ears. In new version you can just press Alt Q and you can directly select that object if you are in the sculpt mode itself. So I was working in old version, that's why I have to go to the object mode and that, because it was not working, the shortcut was not working. But if you are working in new version, you can just directly click Alt Q and just select the object on which you want to sculpt. So now with the our grab brush, I'm just adjusting the eye area, this socket area. I'm just adjusting the overall shape, because with a big with a big grab brush, you can just grab the mesh properly and you can just place it or adjust it smoothly. Then with draw sharp brush, I'm kind of trying to create the eyelid area of the this cat face, because if there is no eyelid, it will look like a just flat plane and then again sphere. It will kind of look weird, so I'm just trying to make that eyelid. While working with a draw sharp brush, I'm continuously using shift key for activating the smooth option, so that I can use the brush and at the same time I can smooth the object. Then again I'm going to the object mode, then with shift A I'm again adding a sphere for the nose. You can see that X is on the top, you can activate the symmetry from there. Then again I'm going to the object mode and I'm selecting the head and then going to the sculpt mode, because I was working in the old version. New version you can directly do that. And with the draw sharp brush, I'm kind of trying to create a little bit of smile or a little bit of face shape, like lip shape for this cat face. And also the this eyelid area, I have to define it a little more. So for that I wanted to use a kind of sharp brush, so I use draw sharp. Then I'm kind of pulling the nose a little bit out. Do you remember that I added a sphere for the eyeball? I somehow lost the recording for that part where I duplicated the eyeball for eye lens mesh. By the eye lens I mean the mesh for this transparent part over the eyeball. I just wanted to inform you upfront that I duplicated that thing with Shift D. In the scene collection you will see that I duplicated that thing and named it as eye lens, and on that I will be adding shaders. So you can see eye lens is there, and when I go to the shading viewport, I'm just changing the shader parameters. I'm increasing the transmission, and you can see there is a slight pinch. So for removing that thing, I went to the sculpt mode, and with R and Control R, I applied the remesh. But after applying the remesh, I found out that I have already added a modifier on top of it. So I went to the object mode again and I merged the modifier. Like with that button, I applied the modifier on the mesh, then again went to the sculpt mode, and now you can see that I can smooth it properly. And while smoothing it, I found out that the brush was not acting symmetrically. So for that I had to option, which is object, apply, and apply all transforms. So the default position of the mesh will become 0, 0. So you can see that after that I just went to this mask brush and increase the hardness of the brush by going to this setting, which will come after you press N on your keyboard. And you can see setting menu will appear, and you can just change the settings in that menu. And for masking menu, you have to press A. If you press A on the keyboard and you have mask brush and sculpt mode is activated, you will see the masking options. And with that, I inverted the mask. And again with the brush, I just sculpted in inward direction. Now with the A option, I am growing the mask. With pressing A and going to the grow mask again and again, I am growing the mask. And now I am manually painting the mask with the mask brush. And again for the mask brush also, you can hold control. It will work in a reverse way. Like it will remove the mask by holding control on the keyboard. Sorry, with the clay brush, I extruded that part a little bit, like inflated, sculpted on that part. That's why you can see that the eyeball has 2 bulges. I just did that thing with the mask. With a smooth brush, I was smoothing the edges. Then you can see with that arrow button, I am just applying the whole settings for the eye lens. Earlier I did it for the eyeball, now I am doing it for eye lens. So that pinch is coming because it's a sphere and the poles are there. So I have to go to the sculpt mode and remesh it, and merging the modifier, I can smooth it directly. You can see with the X button pressed, X option pressed on top, I can smooth it. Then this is the shading option. You can directly change the alpha value from for viewport from this viewport display, and you can see these options will help you to change the opacity of your mesh in the viewport. But we wanted to do it in shading menu. So for that we have to apply different materials, like proper materials, so that it will work. So right now glass material was applied, but I applied principal BSDF and increase the transmission value so that the transparency of the mesh is proper. And rest of the settings are already there. You don't have to change anything. The next option which you have to change is by going to screen space reflection, and you have to turn on refraction option, so that this transparent material will start behaving like a transparent glass. Refraction will happen. Then by going to this world kind of icon and that dot, you have to add a image texture. And in this image texture, you have to by going to that open button, you have to add a HDRI map, which is an environment map. You can download it from online and you can just have it for your base lighting. You can just directly go to the object mode, add lights by Shift A and going to this light option. You can add different lights, sun, area light, spotlight, point light. You can add it and adjust it according to your reference or your lighting preference. This part is totally artistic. It's not that technical. You just have to sit there and place your lights properly. And for having the background at transparent, you have to go to this film and turn that option. Click on that icon, that will add a new material, and you can directly double click and change the name of the material. For now I am using cat face as a material name. And then you can just directly select some other object and you can select the material from the drop down. Like I applied that same material for the ears and the head. And for the nose, I created a new material and named that material as nose and change the color. You can see the base color is there and you can just directly change it. So now I will show you the steps which you have to do for Vertex Paint in the new version. So right now, let's say your mesh is there and you want to paint on it. So you just have to hold Control Tab and go to this Vertex Paint option. And this Vertex Paint option, it will be kind of slow because your mesh has this a lot of vertex, like it's remeshed and it has a lot of vertex. So it won't be like that easy to handle. It will be a little bit laggy. So just bear with it. So you can see that right now in the new version there is this option. The visibility of the paint brushes or the symbols of the paint brushes has changed. So you can just go to this paint hard and you can select a color from here. Like right now I have selected this thing, this kind of yellowish greenish color. And after that, by pressing N, you can have this setting. And right now I changed the fall off. This fall off, by default fall off will be like custom, but I want the hard shape around the eyeballs, so I just tool fall off, and with custom I change this to constant. And for isolating the selected mesh, like right now whatever mesh is selected and I want to isolate that thing, for that there is this slash and question mark button. You can press it and you can isolate this thing. Now I'll resize my brush with the square brackets and I'll just tap once. Right now it's not visible. So for that you have to go to the shading menu. And now I'll tell you what is changed. Before there was this option in add and input, there was this option for vertex color, but right now it's not there. For now there is this option which is called color attribute. For that we have to press Shift A and we have to search for color attribute and it will be here. Now if you press color attribute and press and connect the color attribute with the base color, you will see it. You will see the color which you painted, and you can see that there is this option, data option, and in there is this color attribute here, and that exact color attribute is selected over here, so it will be visible. Let's say if I remove it, like by default if it's not there, so nothing will be there. So you have to make a color attribute here, which is, let's say we will name it, we'll add base eye, and with the white we'll add it, and the color attribute is added. And now we can just select it from here. We added this node here and we can select the base eye, and now in this base eye attribute we have to paint. So we are already, you can see that we are already in the vertex paint mode and paintbrush is selected, color is selected, and we just have to tap. It will be a little slow, but it will be fine. Tap. And with the fall off, you can see that fall off is working so beautiful and it's coming out crisp, like sharp and crisp. Now we wanted a different color for the center part, so we'll add a different kind of dark color. Reduce the draw size with the square brackets, and here is it. On the same thing, we added it. Now we'll again press the slash button and you can see our eyes are painted. Just remember this color attribute, and for that color attribute you can add the attribute from here, this object data properties. And now if I go to this default layout, and in default layout if I press N, the setting menu will go, and press slash, the whole model will appear, and then eye lens, if I turn it on, it will be active, but it's not in render preview. So when I press render, and you can see, we can see the glass, like the lens. So right now we are in the cycles, like you can see that by going to this render properties, you can see that we are in cycles, but we can, if we go in EV, there are few more settings and few more nodes which we have to connect, so I'm not going in that much detail right now. You can just go to the cycles and rest of the things will work properly. And if you want to create a camera, just Shift A, then camera is here, then that camera, and if you just have a viewport, set it like this and press Ctrl Alt 0, you can see that your camera is here, but right now if you try to edit it, it will get messed up. So for that you have to press N and go to this view, camera to view, turn it on, then adjust your model inside the camera frame. normal viewport navigation and adjust it. Then turn it off, camera to view, turn it off. Then you will not be able to disturb the camera view. So whenever you want the camera again, just press 0. You'll get the camera and press F12 and you will get your beautiful render right here. Hope this gave you a clear starting point to sculpt in Blender. If you have any doubt, drop a comment or just join the Discord. I'll reply, promise. And if you want to go deeper, my beginner sculpting courses is on Udemy and Skillshare. Check the description. Thanks for sticking around. Subscribe if you want more real learning like this. Keep sculpting and I'll see you in the next one.